All right, welcome back. This is video number 4 of 48 and 24. We're knocking them out every half hour. We are with Peter Gillberg today. He is joining us from Spain. And Peter, welcome. Thank you for joining us to this crazy event.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So Peter, I'm guessing a lot of people aren't familiar with who you are. So why don't you give us a little bit about your background and what you do?
Sure, I can do that. I work for a company called Software Casa, and we are a reseller of Snagit and Camtasia Studio. And we have been a reseller for a long time now, actually. I think we started more than 10 years ago. And I think the first Camtasia we sold was version 2 or something like that. So it was before Camtasia Studio was named Camtasia Studio. So
okay, so yeah, that's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And I mean, we're not just selling, but I'm personally using Snagit a lot too, both Snagit and Camtasia Studio. So I think around 2008 or something like that, I was creating a lot of extra resources for Snagit. You call them Snagit stamps that you can actually use inside the editor. So I was creating loads of those, and we started talking about perhaps we should put something together. So we put a package together called Super Stamps. And we started selling that together with Snagit to our clients, and we have a lot of clients that think that it's a great product, and they just buy it together with Snagit. And I think now we have like 1,300 stamps included in that collection.
1,300 stamps in the collection. Holy cow, that's a lot of stamps.
Yeah, we're trying to cover a lot of areas, and over the last few years, it's become a lot of different collections too. But that first collection now has 1,300 stamps, and then we have a monster collection, and we have a business collection, and some other collections. But the original one, it's growing, and we're looking to add even more here in the future. So hopefully everybody has some stamps they can use in the collection.
So Peter, you mentioned you said that in your business, as you resell software and you're making these packages, that you're using Snagit a lot. What kind of things do you use Snagit for on a daily basis, for instance?
Yeah, I sit here with 3 screens now, and it's maybe I will scare people here now with my fixation, but I'm actually using one screen almost only for Snagit. I'm using the Snagit editor on a 3rd screen, so I'm having access to it all the time. And I mean, I'm using it. I'm doing a lot of marketing work, and so it's a lot for that. But it's also for all my research online. I'm grabbing the screenshots and saving them, and I can categorize them in the editor and the library function. And also when I'm educating myself, I use it constantly. So, and I just love the 11.3 version when the Fuse came into scene, because now I'm taking classes on my pad, and then I'm just sharing it up to my desktop computer with Fuse. So I'm collecting all if I'm getting some input on a class I'm doing or something, I just share it to my basic computer, and then I have it in the library. So it's fantastic. Too much promotion here, no, but it's really great stuff, and yeah.
No, that's great. So I'm curious because, and I know we want to talk about the website you've got up in just a second. I'm curious. So as you've experienced going through making stamps, obviously with the number of stamps that you guys have created, it's a lot. You've probably learned a lot. Are there any tricks or things that make for good stamps that you found? Things that and I'm not talking necessarily, obviously you've got lots of different stamps for lots of different needs, but in that process of creating a stamp that's going to be effective or useful, are there things that you would advice you'd give to someone who wants to maybe make their own for personal uses, or one for their business or work kind of
purpose? For example, we have tried a lot of different things, and since we're also working with video and with Camtasia Studio, for Camtasia Studio, for example, you would want bigger images. If you're, for example, you're going to use them in an HD or a full HD product, you want bigger images. And what we tried for a while is that we have stamps that are like 3,000 pixels and 1,500 pixels on this website now that I can show you in a little bit. But when we put those in, if you create them and use them as or try to use them as Snagit stamps, they could become a little bit heavy, because normally when you work with images, you don't want them at that size. So we are normally creating them now around 250, 500 pixels. That's good for your screen work, and then for video we do bigger ones, so to speak. So the size could be an issue. Then I mean, other tips and ideas than that, I'm not sure.
Anything with color, or I guess, like, I guess, are there other attributes? Because I didn't actually think about size that you'd want to, you know. In fact, when you started talking about the ones for Camtasia, I immediately thought, well, yeah, make them really big. But I could see where that would be problematic. Where on Snagit,
you could. I mean, if now I'm having so many folders in my Snagit editor in the stamps folder that sometimes you're just loading. This this is taking its time, even if you have a very powerful computer. And so if somebody's sitting with a laptop, you need a little bit of smaller files. I'm also thinking a lot about organizing the stamps, because I mean, when your stamp collection grows, it's good to have a system where you're putting them in different folders. And I could see perhaps that in the future that Snagit could handle folders in a better way and stuff like that. So
we'll take that as a feature request for.
Yeah, I do have a bunch of those, but yeah. No, colors and stuff like that, I mean, it's all very personal. I personally try to stay pretty much up to date of design trends and stuff like that. I'm looking a lot at what's coming all the time, and people often want the latest, but it's so much personal taste that it depends on what you do. I also make a series of organized, like the callouts in Snagit, that I have an organized series that I try to use consistently in the work with my people. Is if you do presentations and you want to add a callout in a Snagit document, you try to make them look the same all the time, etc.
Yeah, I think that's important to note, and I think a lot of people miss that if they you have a set of callouts, you can actually set it so it's persistent, so it can always be the same kind of weight or color or whatever, which is really a great thing, especially if you're in an organization and you want that consistency. So that's a great tip.
Yeah, it's the quick access. You set them to be quick access, and you will have them there all the time and looking identical.
So Peter, you brought up on your screen this callouts.com. Tell us a little bit about that, and what should we know about it?
Sure. I was thinking about titles for this presentation, and one alternative title I was thinking about was the secret weapon of Camtasia ninjas. So that's
Camtasia ninjas. So be prepared to be ninja-fied, folks. Awesome. I love it.
No. So after Super Stamps there, we started with that. I also did a lot of work with creating resources for Camtasia Studio. And I mean, Camtasia is just an amazing program. And I think with the library functionality and now the possibility of creating your own libraries, you can import, you can from, if you're creating a series of movements, animations or so on in Camtasia Studio, you could save that as a library and then export it, and you can share it with other people. So and then you can share it, or you could use it for your own projects and get like a template. So Camtasia has just so much possibilities, and we really wanted to add to the catalog that comes with Camtasia Studio. So we set up this site that has right now several thousand resources I mean, it has all that you can use in Camtasia and Snagit. I mean, many of the files on callouts you can use in Snagit as stamps as well. But for Camtasia Studio, since you're working with video, callouts has HD or full HD background videos. You have chroma key or overlay videos that you could put on top. You have music, you have sound effects. We have added Camtasia library files. We started in Halloween, actually started with the first library file. And just a few days ago, we added another one. And now I'm going to try to add a Camtasia library file every month when we're doing our monthly release.
Well, fantastic.
So it's just I mean, if you're working with Camtasia Studio, you're working with screen recording, but you want something extra, you want graphics behind you. If you're working with green screens, etc., Callouts just has a massive amount of resources. And all is it's a membership site. We didn't want to sell like as individual resources. I mean, you go out online today, you can buy a video for $50 or $100. We wanted to make it to a very acceptable price and just like a membership site. So if you're a member, you can just access and download everything you need. No need to think about paying for each. Oh, do I need this? Do I need that? I just download everything I want.
Well, Peter, we're going to invite people to go check out callouts.com on their own. We'd love to, get some feedback if you guys want to see there's certain callouts you want to see. I love the tip about creating your own library files. That's fantastic. So if you haven't had a chance to use that in Camtasia Studio, I'd recommend that. We're out of time for this recording though, so we're gonna wrap up the recording. Peter, if you could stay on with us and we'll chat a little bit more. But again, go check out. Let me ask you this, Peter, real quick before we go. If they want to go learn more about you, it's Software Casa. Is that correct?
Well, they could. I think I'm not seeing the video here, but you have my Skype.
Yep.
You have my Twitter handle.
We have your Twitter
there.
handle, so they can reach out to Peter,
Yeah.
ask him some questions. I'm sure he'd love to chat with you guys out on the internet. So, all right. So thanks everybody. Thanks again, Peter. And
thank you. Thank you so much
wraps
for
up.
having me.
Yeah, we'd love to having you here, and thanks again. So that wraps up video number 4, and we'll be back in just a second and chat more with Peter.